Hey guys, my name is Seppi, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the Star Wars featurette that came out of D23, but more importantly we're going to be talking about Rey. Now, coming off of D23 with that featurette revealing Rey as Darkseid Rey, there's a lot of things going around the internet that I'm seeing, and I'm going to kind of discuss a little bit about what I think is happening with that, as well as what most likely will happen. So what I want to happen and what will most likely happen are two different things, but at the same time, I'm going to keep this open-minded, and I want to go into it just being ready for anything, being ready for any sort of surprise. So let's get right into the video. Now, I want to make this clear. This is not a hate on Disney Lucasfilm Star Wars. I actually like some of Disney Lucasfilm Star Wars. I would say most of it, actually, but I do want to get this out of the way. I think that lightsaber that Rey has at the end of the trailer is so stupid. It looks so dangerous and pointless, but hopefully there is some sort of use for it other than just storage purposes, because it looked like a pretty long, maybe, you know, how she uses a staff, and we have seen those in Rebels. So we'll see. I don't think there's going to be anything special other than it looks cool, but moving on from that, there's a couple things that I want to talk about. So first, I'm going to preface this video with the fact that I am a huge fan of the extended universe, and having just reread the Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command by Timothy Zahn, that's kind of fresh in my mind, and I saw a couple clues that means they might have cherry-picked some things from it. So if you look in the trailer, starting right off the bat, there is a huge Imperial fleet. Now, it's not a First Order fleet. Those are Imperial ships, so that's either part of Palpatine's army, or that's what is known as, in the extended universe, in those books, the Katana fleet. So I'm going to spoil those books a little bit for you guys, so spoiler warnings ahead. But the Katana fleet is something that both the remnants of the Empire and Admiral Thrawn, as well as the New Republic, Luke and his friends, are trying to both get the upper hand on one or the other. So maybe that big fleet that we saw is going to be Disney's Katana fleet for this film. Maybe that'll be a huge plot point. I would love to see that, especially because if I'm not mistaken, that takes place... Oh, man. Uh-oh. Am I getting a detail wrong? If I'm not mistaken, that Katana fleet is found on the planet they were cloning, and then this is when Luke discovers that there are still clones. So that'd be kind of cool, since Kamino wasn't a thing back in the extended universe days, that they could tie Kamino back into this if the Katana fleet is there. So just a cool little tidbit that's already making this feel like those books. Now, moving on to Rey, I believe that Rey is a clone. So there's a few different options. She has a twin. This is a flashback or a vision. She's getting possessed by Palpatine, given her little ring, because maybe that's a thing that he did to Snoke as well. Because I believe Snoke was supposed to be like the stand-in Master Sabaoth that Palpatine created in those books, who's just a deteriorating ancient Jedi who was like a master, but he's losing his mind. Maybe that's what Snoke was, or was supposed to be. Or Rey actually falls to the dark side. I don't think any of those are true, minus the fact that I mentioned I do think she is a clone. So, tying this back to The Last Jedi, this is why I think so. I've seen this theory, and I also kind of was thinking this in the theater too. When Rey goes to Ahch-To and she kind of falls in that like dark side butthole thing, and she looks in the mirrors and she asks to see her parents. One, when the two shadows come up, that's Han and Chewbacca. If you look at it, big, fluffy, the height difference, and he's got no neck, and it looks like Han and Chewbacca. So maybe they raised Rey, which is kind of why they look like they knew her from The Force Awakens. On top of that, Rey sees a bunch of different versions of herself, and she sees like thousands of Reys. And yes, you can say, oh, they're all doing the same thing. It's just some weird little time lapse or time loop thing. But I believe that is symbolism for the fact that Rey is a clone. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean she is Rey Prime, but I do think that she is a clone that maybe defected from whatever Palpatine was trying to do. Maybe she was like Palpatine's granddaughter, who was like strong in the Force, and he wanted to clone her a bunch. Because what we see in that trailer is not actually Rey. I could be wrong, but I just think that Rey has definitely had enough chances to fall to the dark side, and a couple of them in Last Jedi alone, that she did not take those chances. So it'd be kind of abrupt if she did that all of a sudden. I definitely think there's potential, but I believe, again, what I think this actually is a vision of some sort. What I would want it to be is Rey actually has a clone, because in the extended universe books, in The Last Command, Luke discovers that Palpatine cloned him from his hand that he found on Bespin, and Luke fights Luke. Just Luke with an extra vowel, and he's just a completely corrupted puppet, which is exactly how Rey looks. She looks like a sunken-in face, just completely abused puppet. It's kind of disturbing, but that would be kind of a cool twist for Rey to have to fight, because I think one of Rey's biggest struggles is who is she, and this power within her, is she good or bad with it? Like she's being drawn to kind of both. So it'd be kind of cool if Rey fights Rey. And that's kind of my theory on it. But let me know what you guys think. Is Rey a clone? Is she being possessed? Is she actually going to the dark side? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.